It's the Podsquad with Kathy Morrison, Wendy Card, yours truly, Colleen Roberts, and we're expecting Randy Foster. So if you know Randy, tell him to jump on the podcast, okay? Thanks for joining us, everybody. This is the New Bern Now podcast for January 21st, 2021. I cannot believe we're already almost at the end of the first month of the new year. This is episode 170.
All right. Yay. And we're connecting you with people, places, and all the happenings around New Bern and surrounding areas. And we want you to join the conversation with us. But before we get started, we have a contest. Wendy has something exciting.
Okay, what actor known for his roles in Bull, Just Mercy, and This Is Us was born in New Bern?
Where are you getting this information from?
His mother.
Okay, so if people can answer that, what do they do?
You type it in the New Bern Now Facebook page. Yeah, this is I learned this last year, and actually I did a little mini interview with him, but we need to reconnect. So he's pretty amazing.
Cool.
So he was on This Is Us, and what were the others?
It was Bull, Just Mercy, and This Is Us. And while he was, filming or whatever it's called, he did that all in 1 week. Supposedly, that was, okay. I did a little researching on him, and he did an interview with somebody up in New York City, and it was claimed that he did the filming for the three of them all in 1 week. Not the whole show, but bits and parts. So
I'm gonna guess Ichabod Crane.
I don't know. I can't pull anything out of my hat.
Yeah, so I can't either.
Well, he's been an actor for many years, but recently he's just come, he's just become very famous. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you know the answer, make sure you post your comment or your answer on the New Bern Now Facebook page, not somewhere else where this podcast may be shared, but on the actual Facebook page for New Bern Now. And we will remind you of the question throughout the podcast. We will also give you the answer a little bit later in the podcast. And then don't they win something, Wendy?
They win a $40 gift certificate to one of the local businesses. So excited to give that away, so hopefully people will guess. Yeah,
awesome. All right, so Kathy Morrison, you have a different background behind you today.
I have the battlefield behind me today, and I have the battlefield behind me because, and I'm going to tell you because we haven't even done a press release yet. So again, you guys get the first information hot off the presses here. The app. Right? Yep. I'll tell you a secret. Whisper. I'll just whisper to you. The app for the battlefield is ready, and it's online, and it's raring to go. If you have a smartphone, and all you have to do is go to your store where you buy the apps on whatever kind of phone you have, and ask it for New Bern Battlefield Park, and you'll get an app, and that will guide you around the park. The park is set up to tell you the story of what happened at the battle, but also what was happening in New Bern. And there are a number of placards that tell you all those things. Well, the app, you get the audio for the placards, so you could be looking at things and hearing the story. And it gives you some additional photos and some videos. So you could follow the app, and it will lead you around the park and tell you the story.
Very cool.
That's fantastic.
It's cool. It really is cool. It's got, I know you can't see it. If I've tried to put it up here, and just this magic of video, you can't see it when I hold it up. But go to your app store, whichever kind you have, whether it's Android or Apple, and ask for New Bern Battlefield Park, and you'll get that app. It's free. It's completely free. And you can visit the Battlefield Park, whether you're there or not. So if you live in Cincinnati and you want to see New Bern Battlefield Park, it will give you all the information and give you images and tell you the story of both New Bern and the battle. So we're really excited to have that, and we will be getting the press release out. But I just wanted to tell you all, because you deserve a little head start. And if you're looking for something to do, you want to go out in the sunshine, because it is sunny today. I can see because it looks like it's sunny behind me. It looks like it's sunny today.
Gorgeous out.
Take a walk around the park, and the placards will lead you, but now you have an app that will help you out as well. And you can see some of the placards. If I duck one way or the other, you can see that's the plaza, and that tells you the lineup of all the units that were there and what they were doing and what happened. But it will tell you all about it, and it's really a cool thing.
Well, now, how long have you been working on that, the development of the app?
Probably 18 months or better. I mean, the actual hands-on putting it together, probably 18 months. They've been talking about it and figuring and planning for longer than that. But actually, the building of the app, Katie Shorter had a large hand in that, and John Miller, the battlefield manager, worked with her on it. And they gathered up the actors to do the audio and all the additional images and additional video that you'll see on your app that you may not see on the placard in front of you, because there's images on the placards and there's text on the placards, but you will get more from the app.
I would imagine that would be really popular amongst even prospective visitors when they find the app. You can see it and listen to it and then come see it in real life.
And my sister's up in Buffalo, my sister and brother-in-law, and they watch the show, and I'm going to make sure that they download that app, because they've been having snow and chilly weather. So, just walking through the battlefield, it's not just for, history buffs, it's for nature lovers. And it's just, so it kind of gets you in a different place when it's a dreary day outside. So
we invite everybody to download that app. It's New Bern Battlefield Park, wherever you get your apps, and it will give you information, give you images, and tell you the story. And let you know. And if you're out at the park, you can be wandering and listening at the same time. And if you're out of town, you can still see the great places that we have here.
Sure.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Putting that together. New Bern Historical Society.
Yeah, they have done a wonderful job in putting that together.
Always on the edge of something there at the New Bern Historical Society.
I got one other thing. It's scholarship time. It's time for the Harriet Mark Scholarship. So this is available to a New Bern High School graduating senior. The app is on our website and on the school website. So if you go to newbernhistorical.org/scholarship, you'll find information and the application. And they have it on the school site as well. The due date for the application is March 26th. And I know it's still January 21st, but you're going to blink and all of this stuff that's happening, and are we in classes or out of classes, and what's happening downtown, and it's going to be March 26th in a day and a half. So take a look at that, begin to fill it out. It's based on equal weight for need and scholarship. So it's a great benefit. It's given, and then it's renewable for 3 years. So it's as long as you maintain your scholarship. So it's 4 years. It varies in amount from year to year.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, it varies in amount from year to year. And it's from the Harriet Marks, when she died, her will set up this scholarship. And that was in 1968.
Wow.
So she's been helping folks for a long, long time. And it's just, the Historical Society is lucky enough that we get to help in that process by handling the applications and the choosing of the folks. And there have been some really wonderful I want to say kids, but now they're adults who have gone through that program and been helped with the Harriet Mark Scholarship. So if you know somebody who's a senior at New Bern High School, tell them to take a look at that application and fill it out and get it in before March 26th.
Which is going to be here in a day and a half.
That's right.
Yeah.
It will. I mean, just so much is going on, and you'll be focused on one thing and then the other, and then you'll say, "Oh, gee, I was supposed to fill that out."
Yep,
So,
it happens every day.
Sure does.
Darn it, forgot to fill that out.
yep.
Forgot to make that call. Darn it, I gotta do that first thing in the morning, every day.
Yep. And as you get busier and busier, you're like, well, I'll move that to tomorrow. I'll move it
Yeah,
to tomorrow.
or didn't I call them like last month? Oh, darn it, I forgot to call them.
Yep. And we're supposed to be adults. Yeah.
I'm calling it COVID brain.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Or we got to come up with a good catchy phrase as far as everyone's going through it in some way, shape or form. So, and we have Captain Gary. Captain Gary's in the waiting room.
Ooh,
Guys
Gary
ready?
Dubiel.
Yep. Captain
Let him
Gary
on in.
Dubiel. He's, if I can get him in here. They were.
I'm
What's
sorry.
that?
Go ahead, Wendy.
They were saying it was a little meme or whatever they call it on social media that the Zoom and these webinars are like seances, like it's like, can you hear me now? Or is he there? Or I see him, but they can't see me. Can you see me? Anyway,
Yep,
I thought it
knock.
was funny.
There's somebody.
I'm sorry, Colleen. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so we have had Captain Gary on the show before. And when he came on last time, I did not know him. And we became friends on Facebook after that. And I really enjoy looking at some of the seafood that he prepares. Do you see some of
He's
the
a chef.
photos?
Yeah, I mean, he cooks. He's amazing. There he is.
We're all coming over for dinner tonight, Captain Gary.
Whoops.
How's it going?
You're muted.
Unmute.
Uh-oh.
There he is. There.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Good afternoon, ladies.
Hi. Looks like the sun's out by you.
Well, kind of. Compared to what we've had over the past month or so, barring the last couple of days, any brightness is a bonus.
Yes, I agree. How have you been since the last time we saw you?
Oh, doing okay. Just trying to get through some pretty awful weather this winter. Lots of rain and lots of wind. It's not made fishing very good most of the time, but we're still catching fish, so there's the bonus.
All right.
Captain Gary is from Spec Fever Fishing Guide Service, and you also apparently cooked some really good stuff. You post some great pictures on Facebook of things that you're making.
Thank you. Great, a passion of mine for many, many years. So I love to cook and entertain, and actually have some friends coming over tonight. So it is a good night to come by for dinner.
What's for dinner?
We're having
Yeah.
some fish tonight.
Ooh, what kind?
I'm gonna actually do some cod this evening. It's done on almost sort of it's a caper and white wine sauce, and have some fresh asparagus and
That sounds good.
My stomach's grumbling.
I had leftovers for lunch, and that just sounds so much better than leftovers.
excellent.
So
We got plenty, so we've got plenty.
And you're out in Oriental.
Yeah, way out here as you can see behind me, way out in the country here.
It's beautiful country, though. It really is. And you don't only go take people fishing in Oriental. You go through Pamlico Sound and up the Neuse River and wherever your clients want to go, right?
Absolutely, go. We fish the Trent and Neuse River above New Bern and all the way up past Vanceboro and out in the ocean certain times of the year. So we try to cover all the bases in the area, and there's lots of great fishing scattered around. And even on a not the best winter in the world, there's a lot of good fishing up in New Bern, even some really good freshwater fishing that a lot of folks don't take advantage of. So a lot of good stuff around.
Yeah. Well, the other day, I'd say 2 weeks ago, I drove like a mile up the road, and there's a little tiny creek and I cast my first cast. I caught, it was, I'm pretty sure, are they alligator gar down here? Is that what they call them? It was,
Well, yeah, we have long nose and spotted gar mostly.
it
Yeah.
was probably the long nose then,
Yeah.
but he was pretty big, but he snapped my line. I mean, I started getting him out of the water, and then there was largemouth, and then some white perch. I mean, that was all within probably 30 minutes. And so there, it was,
Right.
they were pretty active. Now, as far as what's running in the major waterways right now, what are you
Well,
catching?
up in the New Bern area, this year with the volume of rain, we've not had a lot of saltwater fish up that way. But the striped bass are always around New Bern, or at least until they go up the Neuse River to spawn. So there are stripers up there, and that fishing's been a little bit better since we've not had as much rain. The water's in the main river starting to come down a little bit, so we're finding a few stripers. That's looking pretty good. It's getting that time of the year now as we get into February where they'll start to group up, and then eventually, as we get into the end of February, first part of March, start to move upriver to spawn. So it's a really good time to target those fish. And there is, like I said, there's a lot of freshwater fish. You mentioned the white perch, but crappie and bluegill, different brims we have in the area, largemouth bass, pickerel. There's also a really fantastic number of big catfish in the river. And so if you were so inclined just to pull on a big fish, putting some cut bait down on the bottom in either the Trent or the Neuse River, we've caught some 40-pound catfish. So there's some really big fish up there. Farther downriver towards me, you're going to find where you're going to find more of the saltwater fish, mostly speckled trout, a few puppy drum. We caught a flounder the other day. So that fishing's been okay. Breezy the last few days, it was great. The sun came out, which helps the water warm up and makes the fish happy, except the wind's been blowing really, really hard. So it seems one or the other, we've struggled a little bit to get out there. But the last few times we've been on the water, we've caught some pretty decent speckled trout. So that's been pretty good. And for folks that are probably listening to y'all, there's still speckled trout and puppy drum fishing down closer to Morehead City, back in the Core Sound and the areas down that way, the Bogue Sound. And so you have that winter fishery as well. So on the days that are a little nicer, don't hesitate to try to get back out on the water.
And what are oysters like right now?
I'm not sure what the boys have been doing with the oysters. I would be a little, once I think you're way out in the Sound, and definitely down in the Core Sound, Bogue Sound, and those areas, you're going to have enough salt water. The water's a little freshish up here on the Neuse, so those oysters may not be as salty and sweet as you probably like to see. But there's plenty. Like I said, there's probably plenty of harvest. Especially if you get the oysters coming in from down east and out towards Ocracoke, you're going to have plenty of salt water there.
Awesome.
If folks want you to take them fishing, what do they do?
Well, you can find me in numerous ways. As we mentioned, once you get past my cooking, my stuff on Facebook. But I do have a website, specfever.com, specfever.com. And that's probably the easiest if you look that up. Now you have all the access to the ways to get a hold of me: email, phone calls, all my social media sites. And so really easy. And there's plenty of information on there, to kind of look over and just drop me an email, give me a call, and, we'll talk about, what you want to do and when you want to do it, and get you out on the water.
Did you say specfever.com?
Specfever.com. specfever.com.
Before we let me go, I want to wish you a happy birthday, which is
That's
this weekend, all weekend or all month do you celebrate?
I'm just going to do the weekend. That's why, part of the reason I have friends coming in. I'm actually going to be doing some fly casting instruction this weekend with them. But we're probably going to have to have a few good meals at the house, and maybe visit some of those good New Bern restaurants.
There you go. Well, I wish you a happy birthday.
Yes, happy
and
birthday,
hopefully,
Captain Gary.
hopefully fishing will pick up for you.
It's gonna be okay. If I could just get just a little bit of cooperation from the wind, we'll do better. But still catching a few fish, so always good in January. Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you ladies so much. I appreciate the birthday wishes.
It's good to see you.
Yeah.
Likewise.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
That would be fun, to get out on the water and see what you end up with.
Yeah. You know, when I first met Captain Gary, he was out in Oriental, so I drove out there. Actually, it may have been my first trip to Oriental. This is, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. And you know, he's really tall. He's almost, I'm guessing, like 6'5" or
Wow.
Oh, wow.
really tall. So I had a picture taken with him, and I'm only 5 feet. So, but he told me some stories as far as, you know, I didn't know there was bull sharks in the Neuse River, and I just learned so much from him. He's just
He's so easygoing and approachable, you know?
yeah, and he's fun. You know, he's got a really good sense of humor. So
He does.
and yeah, so if y'all, I think people need to get out there and enjoy the great outdoors. Let's see, what time is it? Okay, we have a couple minutes. My neighbors were doing rollerblading and playing hockey in the street, and it just brought me back to the days when the streets were, you know, frozen over. Growing up and playing hockey in the middle of the street with the little nets. And although I don't think there's many hockey players down here, but it's good to see there's a lot more kids now, like recently, that I've noticed that are playing outdoors, and it's, you know, it's been a little chilly than there were like 2019, the summer of 2019, and in the summer or all year. It was, you know, I'm like, what, the kids just play indoors all the time now? But I maybe this has changed their habit of, you know, getting out and enjoying, where the parents are saying, get out of the house and locking the door, you know.
Right. You got to go outside now.
Yeah.
They're done with the homeschooling and all that. So and speaking of parents, we have, let's see, Antoinette Boskey-Chadwick.
Ooh, yay!
There we are. Is she ready for us? You guys ready for her?
Yes.
There she is.
She is here to talk to us about the New Bern People's Assembly.
Yes.
She is, I think, one of the busiest people that I know, one of the most active. Antoinette!
Hi, how are y'all?
Hello.
I had to stop stuffing my face with chips.
You can share. That's okay.
And we're always talking about food on this show, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
How are you? Happy New Year. We haven't
Doing
seen you.
well.
Yeah.
Same
So-
to you, same to you.
What was the last part?
I was just saying, same to you all. Happy New Year. I haven't seen y'all in the new year.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't understand you. So when did Chadwick happen?
October of 2020, my grandmother's birthday. We got married on my grandma's birthday, and I just took Craven County by storm and popped up married. I can't wait for people to start to get to meet him and know him. Some people have, but he is just amazing. It takes an amazing person to understand, you're right, how the busyness and everything that's going on and be able to support that. So I am blessed.
Well, I was just about to say,
Congratulations.
this will be the longest marriage in history because it survives by you not seeing each other. Because like Antoinette is everywhere.
I am. And he's usually with me. If he's not with me, he is taking care of the kids, or making sure that I have dinner, or he's a great guy. He's a great match for me. And he keeps me balanced. He's the one who makes sure I take Sundays for family days and make sure I'm not overworking myself. So,
Well, good,
Awesome.
good, good. So
Wonderful.
today you're going to talk to us about the New Bern People's Assembly, which was developed in 2019 by several concerned citizens. And this was for the sole purpose of restoring and developing the Black, Brown, and poor communities in and around New Bern, North Carolina. And I feel like we're hearing more about the New Bern People's Assembly each and every day. But for folks who maybe, we've had this year of COVID, who maybe weren't paying attention in 2019 before the pandemic hit, talk to us about what is the New Bern People's Assembly.
oh man, you hit it right. It started in 2019, and it is just really a coalition, not a new group, not trying to exclude anybody. It's a coalition, meaning these different activists, different individuals, different organizations that are interested in improving Black, Brown, and poor communities. All of us coming together and using the community voice as the center. And the God community identified areas of improvement or need. We are tackling those areas in an effort to create change systemically. Because one of the things that we recognize as New Bern has grown, as Craven County has grown, as we've grown as a country, there still are some systems and things that are barriers to certain groups. And it's not that it's intentional. There are many times that these things can be unintentional, but we as a people have to do better of coming together, working together, and making change happen, especially based upon our joint beliefs. I will add that it has started as the Black and Brown and poor communities coming together, but during this time that we've been growing and maturing, we've definitely gained a lot of allies. And our allies are just as important to spread the word and the facts of the information that we're finding and different ideas that we can tackle different issues in the community. Right now, we are focusing on housing. We know affordable housing is really big. It's a need. And employment and jobs. We know that jobs and housing go hand in hand. $16.56 an hour. Y'all gonna hear me say that until the minimum wage changes, because it's not tracked with the cost of living, and that has impacted people's ability to have housing. It's impacted their ability to gain wealth, and it's impacted the ability to help these communities to thrive.
Yeah.
And the other, I'm sorry, one more thing that we're looking at is Stanley White. And with Stanley White, what we're looking at for that is just making sure community voice is heard, making sure that there's transparency, making sure that the community is the driving force behind what is happening with that community center. And then those are the three issues we have.
Yes. I always say, communication needs to go to all voices, but not all voices have methods of communication. Some people may not have access to internet. Or they may not choose to participate in Facebook. So how do we find those other avenues to get that type of information and messaging out, particularly where Stanley White is concerned? Every voice is important, from the small business owner to the neighbor who, lives in the community and uses that recreation center quite a bit, to, the nearby economic development and how Broad Street and that area will hopefully continue to thrive and build and expand throughout the years. So all voices really need to be heard on that topic. So, and you've been instrumental in that because you're everywhere.
I am. I truly also believe in that accountability piece that comes from the assembly, the accountability to each other and what we're giving for the betterment of our communities, as well as the accountability for the agencies and groups that are supposed to be, that are designated as representatives of the community. So just creating that accountability, not just for elected officials or for someone who maybe is telling us, hey, we're working in the community, but also accountability to each other. That's very important.
That's vital to the strength of the community, yes, you nailed that.
Now, so during COVID, how have you kept people engaged and involved in the New Bern People's Assembly? There has been so much concern over social distancing, and I didn't know if that has impacted some of your various missions.
It has definitely impacted us. We've had to really transition how we operate. We do hold Zoom meetings. Those Zoom meetings sometimes come with us taking that extra step and helping someone to, if someone wants to be a part and they don't know how to work it, how to log on doesn't work. We are that helping hand, again, that accountability to each other, that sense of community that we are to support each other. We step in and help ensure they have that ability to access it. We also have still been doing some community walks. So y'all know that's my mantra. I think I'm going to go down in Craven County being known as the person who likes just hopping out on people and knocking on their doors. But we still do community walks, of course, with our mask, with our hand sanitizer. We do distance. Make sure that we're maintaining that distance. If we're knocking on a door, we're stepping back before they answer, giving them time in that space to be able to still communicate with us. And anytime that there was a second assembly right when COVID began. At that point, we were at a point where we could meet in person and provide the mask, provide the hand sanitizer, be able to make sure we're distanced appropriately. However, in the midst of what's going on now and how the numbers have tracked up, we're definitely concerned about our communities. We're concerned about the fact that Black and Brown communities are being hit harder by this pandemic. When you think about the death of the businesses, it is a higher percentage of businesses that are no longer around. And the mortality rate for Black people is, we're 1 in 3 times more likely to die from this. When you think about the underlying health issues that caused this, and you think about historically how housing was. Let's go back to housing historically. When you have industry that's going into these communities and you have families who don't have enough to purchase the good foods, you then create this cycle in families of the high blood pressure and the diabetes. And so all of these things contribute and really come full circle. If I could talk about it all day, I know I need to wrap up my questions really quick, but I'm very passionate about it. But when we think of all of these pieces and how they come together, especially around COVID, our last event, we did it fully virtual. It was a great turnout. We did the flyers where people could text it and they could actually just click and be able to sign in. A lot of texting to people, hey, make sure you sign on. A lot of using the community strength of its people. Each one bring one, tell one, share with one, in an effort to get more people involved and engaged.
So Antoinette, if someone wants to either be a part of People's Assembly, or maybe it's someone out there who needs help, what is the first step? Like, I feel like the next time you have a community event going on, I want to know, I want to bring folks to help. So on both sides, being the helper or the volunteer, and also being the person who has needs, how do we find and get up with the New Bern People's Assembly?
So I will tell you that I do want to clarify one thing for us. So we will share resources that our partners have that are at the table. We will share resources we just know of, but we are not the giver of a resource. For us, if you're coming to the table because you have a need with housing, then you're coming ready to work to change the climate of housing. Okay. You're coming ready to do the research about land trusts, land co-ops, and all of these different ways that a community can work together and use their power to affect change for themselves. Yep. So anyone who comes to the table is coming ready to work to create change in our community that will help them and future generations. If anyone wants to connect with us, we can be reached by email at nb.peoplesassembly2020@gmail.com. We are also on Facebook as the New Bern People's Assembly, and we do not have a phone line, but I will say anyone who is interested, knows me, please feel free to reach out to me. Find me on Facebook. I'm not going to put my cell phone number out because I think that would go crazy.
As if it's not already, right?
Connect with us, whether by social media, whether by email. If they're able to get a message to me, I mean, if it means that we have to send someone out to their house to connect with them, we'll make it happen, because it's all about that connection piece is what brings us together. And actually, we are stronger together than we are apart. There are so many things that we have in common. We all care about housing, about someone simply being able to have a safe and healthy place to live. We all care about mitigation in this area, about homes being able to be taken care of. So Colleen, I follow your stuff all the time because I'm constantly sharing it, trying to get people to do the surveys, trying to get them to participate in the meetings. I'm finding that there's some areas we have to work on in regard to education and making sure people understand, because I think that's the other piece that goes into it. Sometimes people log on, they see it, but we're talking so far above their heads that they don't really get what we're saying and how they can participate. So really being that facilitator in that regard too is big for us. But email us, reach out to us by social media.
Yeah, and Antoinette, that's a great point that you make, because I've tried to educate myself from reading, mostly reading, and I'm reading the Eddie Glaude Jr. his book about Begin Again, and he focuses on James Baldwin and his life, and it's very enlightening. From a white person who grew up, on a little island in New York that didn't, was not diverse. I mean, it was, and I don't think it was on purpose, but, that's my perspective. But somebody else's perspective is totally different. And if we can, talk and learn from each other, that's gonna really
can go a long way.
Strengthen our community, and we can understand, and hopefully be happy together versus all these divisions. So what you're doing is vital to the strength of New Bern, and we will be New Bern strong. I totally believe that. So I really appreciate all that you and the New Bern's People's Assembly is doing. So, yeah.
Well, Wendy, you made a great point. In the climate we're in today, everybody's really worried about, I don't want to be called a racist. That's not me. I promise that's not me. But first piece is, we all have our biases. We have to be willing to internally reflect and figure out what those are and how our experiences have led to our story, our epic. Everybody's epic is different. And the other piece of it is, when we think about just how our country was built, right? What our country was built upon. The true reality is, when our governments and systems were built, they were built during a time when there were people who were thought as less than. Those systems were not built on a system of equality. Yes, we fought civil rights movement. I hear people saying a lot, oh, well, we're past that. Slavery was 300 years ago. Well, schools integrated when my mom was in school, in middle school. So it really wasn't as far away as we think when we were still combating these issues. But when we think about these systems and how our systems were set up, it is important to note that someone can be completely 100% non-racist at all, no racist bone in their body, but that system still is going to perpetuate that same cycle if we don't evaluate it truly, break it down, and create a better system. And those are the things I'm trying to get people to realize. When I'm out here screaming on the mountaintops, I'm not saying you're racist. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that we're not perfect. We're human. Only God was perfect. We're human. And as humans, even some of our systems may have some flaws that we have to be willing to evaluate and grow from as a unit, as opposed to, you're right, snarking at each other. I get so depressed sometimes on Facebook. If I did not need it to communicate with the community, I would not be on it. because the level of hate and
Negativity.
disrespect, and we're no longer accepting of different views and perspectives. And I mean, honestly, a lot of it goes back to party this and party that, but I'm all about people's character. What's your character? That will tell me what I need to know.
I don't vote for the party. I vote for the person, you know.
What's your
and
character?
that's
Mhm.
yes, it's if they don't have
Mhm.
a moral compass, then you know.
Well, and that's what we're teaching Black, brown, and poor communities too. That we need to be looking at, we don't need to be looking at a party. We need to be looking at these individuals who are running to represent us. And we need to be questioning whether their agenda aligns with our agenda. Are you going to go with the people's agenda because you were elected to represent the people? If you're not going to support the people's agenda, then you don't get our support. But if you're supporting the people's agenda, I don't care whether you're Republican, Libertarian, Democrat, but we know this is me personally, how I operate anyway. If you're pushing something that's good for us, let's work.
There
She's
you
getting
go.
fired up.
Amen.
I'm
Yes,
thinking you must be one heck of a juggler and full of energy
she's awesome.
to,
She-
to connect to all
And I'm telling
the
you,
organizations and the individuals and work in several different directions at one time. I'm just amazed.
She doesn't rest.
awesome teams and an awesome husband. I'm telling you, awesome teams and an awesome husband, and it can happen. That's what partnership and teamwork can do.
There you
Antoinette, it is
go.
always awesome to see your face. You're always smiling. And I don't know how you manage all of your busyness and stress, but it is always wonderful to see you, and we love to hear from you. So
Yeah.
hopefully
Thank
you'll be
you.
back on the show really soon.
Thank you, ladies. I enjoy the Pod Squad.
Yay, thank you for teaching us. You know,
Yes.
we learn together, so yes.
Exactly. Thank you.
Take care, it's great
Bye.
seeing you, bye.
Good to see y'all too.
She is so great.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Always busy, always positive.
Mm-hmm.
Whew.
And guess
all
who's
the
coming
pieces.
on?
Yeah.
Uh-oh,
Oh, guess who's
Randy finally made it.
Yeah,
We got to give him a hard time. There's nothing like coming on for the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
and actually Aimee Schulze is coming on too. So I'm
Well,
bringing,
It's a party
Randy.
now.
did Randy leave us?
Are you?
There he is.
Hey, Randy.
I saw the email and I saw 1 to 2 and I only saw the 2 part.
Well, if you hurry, you can make it.
I went
That's right.
for a walk and I'm like, it's brisk and windy outside. And I look at my phone and I thought, oh, I'm late. I'm really, really late.
Whoops.
So,
That's no problem.
boy,
you know,
isn't
I'm gonna
Antoinette
bring-
Boskey just amazing? God, what
She
an
is.
act to follow up on. She's just a joy to be around, and the things that she brings to this community are just
She
just
is eternally positive
Mm-hmm.
and working on issues that aren't positive, but she just
Yeah.
has such a bright outlook, and
And so
I-
many pieces, parts to hang on to and work on at the same time.
yeah.
Yeah, she's that energy, man.
Here's my son, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Hey, Mark, you got a haircut. You got a lot of haircut.
Hello.
How are you, Mark?
How are y'all?
I like your
Good, how are
haircut.
you?
Good.
You
Thank
gonna
you.
you gonna shave your dad's head next?
I did that in March.
Yeah, I remember.
He didn't rock it.
Yeah. All right.
Well, some people can and some people can't.
Love you too. Probably need a ride somewhere, huh?
Is
Oh,
that
okay.
your IT support?
Yeah. No, actually, I'm the IT support. So my office is kind of centrally located. I have a dog to the left of me and the downstairs bathroom to the right of me. And actually, this is my first time back in my office in about a week because we had a water leak in the ceiling.
Uh-oh.
And we actually had to shut the water off to the whole house. We went without water for 2 days.
Oh, man.
And so the plumber comes in and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is going to be $1,000 thing. And he said, you're going to have to cut through the ceiling. You're going to have a drywall guy come in. And I'm I'm thinking, well, there's a light fixture there too. I'm gonna have to have a electrician come in, and I'm just counting the dollars go out the window. And then he fixes the plumbing and turns it back on, and he says, that'll be, and it came to under $200.
Wow.
And
That's
the hole's
awesome.
still in the ceiling, but I'm going to leave it there because that problem is going to come back. And I'm going to put like a door on it or something like that. So next time we have a problem, we can get right to it.
There you go.
Oh, anyway, I'm sorry I'm late. Gosh, we got 12 minutes left. So,
We're so
No,
glad
you're
you're here
good.
because
Yeah.
you have like huge news to report.
well, it's huge to me, and I'm
Huge to
hoping
us.
it's huge to a lot of people. So some of you may know about New Bern Post, which I've been doing for about 3 years. And one of the things that New Bern Post hasn't done a very good job of is serving the advertising needs of the tourism industry in New Bern. So that's like the #1 industry, or #2 after military maybe. And so when I face a problem, I tend to stew on it, think about it, and look for opportunities. And a friend of the family is a world travel writer. Isn't that a cool job? But he focuses on Greece and Turkey and the Mediterranean part of Europe. But he lives in Carborough, and he started a website about 10 years ago called NorthCarolinaTravels.com. And because he's thinking, he's a travel writer, he could probably do New Bern, or not New Bern, I'm sorry. He could probably do North Carolina. And he did. He posted a lot of content, but he really didn't have time to work on it. So about a month ago, he asked us if we would take it. When I say us, he asked Sarah, because Sarah's his friend. And so we said yeah, and started to try to figure out what we could do with it. Because we had 10 years worth of content and all kinds of things. And so it presented an opportunity. So it allows me to offer a product to local, the local tourism industry, but that covers New Bern. But how do I bring people to New Bern through this website? And this is where the opportunity of community comes in. There's a lot of websites around North Carolina that are like New Bern Now and New Bern Post, hyper local, one person operations, maybe 2 or 3 people operating it. And so I thought, what if I partnered with all of them, or as many as I can, where they provide content from their areas to this website, and do for their areas what I plan on doing for New Bern on this website, and then cross promote it. So like New Bern Post is going to promote NorthCarolinaTravels.com, and other websites around the state will do the same. And we start adding audiences in bulk and large groups at a time, so that we start bringing people to New Bern from other parts of the state. And as we get to that point, then we could start expanding and promoting the website beyond the state's borders. But we're slow. We're taking baby steps. And I've only had access. I've only had keys to the website for a month. We did a soft launch 2 weeks ago. We announced it on our website Monday, a couple days ago. And so I'm reaching out to people in Kinston and Morehead City and Wilmington and Outer Banks to see if I can get them to partner with us and join us. New Bern Now, I'm hoping might participate. New Bern Live, I would hope they would participate. Maybe New Bern Magazine. And if you see a trend there, what we're looking at is independently owned, family owned, hyper-local, non-corporate, non-institutional type websites, because one, they're a lot more flexible. They're not as they don't require, I don't know, many of you may know that I was the editor at the Sun Journal. And part of the reason I left is because every day I have this long list of things that I had to check off before I could even start doing my job as covering the community. And it was just, it was annoying the heck out of me. And it's one of the things I enjoy about doing New Bern Post is that I see something I need to be covered, so I cover it. I don't have to ask somebody in Wilmington for permission to do it. So that's kind of what I like, is that autonomy that these hyperlocal sites provide. Plus, I want to be able to support them. So what we're going to do is use a kind of an antique mall analogy. NorthCarolinaTravels.com is just this huge antique mall, and we're renting out stalls to different communities, and for a very low price. Actually, if they sell one ad package, they make a profit and go from there. So I'm not looking at making $1 million or $1 bajillion. What I'm looking at is providing an opportunity for hyperlocal websites to be able to have an additional product that they can sell that'll benefit every other community in the state and also their own, and be able to help their bottom line to make them more viable. Because that's going to certainly make New Bern Post more viable. And I'm hoping that we can partner with Wendy at New Bern Now and help her become more viable, and so on and so forth. And it's working. We're getting some good feedback and some good discussions going with other publications around the state. And I think once we get one, then we're going to get 20. It's kind of like get the first one, and then we'll go from there and it's kind of prove the concept. And what we're focusing on is places that have a tourism interest. So the entire Crystal Coast, Topsail Island, Southport, Outer Banks, Asheville, Carborough, Chapel Hill, those areas. And then while I'm building that, I'm going to try to figure out ways to get the places where tourists don't necessarily go that also need hyperlocal websites. Because there's this concept called a news desert. Jones County is a news desert. It's a whole county without anybody from a journalistic point of view covering what's going on in their community. Nobody covers their county commissioner meetings. Nobody covers their city meetings or school board meetings. Actually, that barely happens in New Bern, for that matter.
Mhm.
So, in counties like Jones County, it doesn't happen at all. So if I can figure out some way for there to be micro-local websites to spring up in places like that, and to help them maybe use a New Bern Post business model and help them start from scratch and get them started, then we can start bringing journalism back to places where it once existed and where we can bring it back again. So 2 levels. One, a website that provides information to travelers and tourists, and maybe people who want to relocate to new communities. The second level is an audience that would serve local businesses that are in the travel and tourism and relocation businesses. And then there's a sub-level, and that's an incubator for local journalism to be able to resurge in North Carolina. And so if I can get all of those things off the ground, then I'll feel that I've succeeded. And all of that helps New Bern Post too. So if we can grow and start maybe having a couple of reporters paying attention to things going on all around the community, and school board, the county commissioners, because I'm spread pretty thin. And Wendy, you're spread pretty thin. And we're one-person operations basically. And the
yeah.
existing publications like the Sun Journal, they're spread pretty thin because they cover 3 counties. And I think they got 2 or 3 people in their newsroom. I don't know how they do the job. And so anyway, that's what's going on with me, other than being really late to meetings.
Well, I love the idea. And I actually, back when I started New Bern Now, I created NC Life Media as like the parent, and New Bern Now was going to be under. And then I was thinking Havelock Now, Vanceboro Now, Jones County, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I don't know what I was thinking, because that's crazy. But you're kind of describing a similar vision, but you have, put a lot more thought in it, because I set it up that way. But ever since then, I've just been going as just New Bern Now. And I've been contacted by people out, in the Piedmont area that want to do a website similar to New Bern Now, and ask, if I could help them set up, give them guidance, and so there's a huge need in our state and states across the country. And I think it's an awesome idea, Randy. So.
Well, yeah, and somebody asked me, so do I want to become like a little Gannett? That's the company that owns like every other newspaper in North Carolina, or every other newspaper around the country. I said, no, I don't. What I want to become is an asset to other independent journalists. And So where we start sharing things that we know and things that we can share to help each other out so that we can all bolster each other.
Yes.
And like, you know, Wendy, you came to me when I was still editor of the Sun Journal pitching an idea, and I took it up the ladder, and they said, no, we don't partner with anybody.
Yeah, and I didn't want any money. It's just
Yeah.
like, let's share, you know.
Yeah, and the idea was, no, well, let's put her out of business, and then we'll do the same thing. So I just backed off and let them forget about it. But as soon as I started New Bern Post, you and I reconnected, and we've been sharing resources. You run my RSS feed on your website, I run yours on mine, and we've been kind of helping each other out ever since then.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm thinking like North Carolina Travels might be able to help you as well. Maybe you
I think
might
it's
be able to get
perfect.
something
It's
started and have
perfect.
like
It's
Havlock.
perfect. Yeah. Well, you know, we collaborate with people where they're at, and they
Yeah.
can do what we're doing. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it is, you know, like an ecosystem of hyperlocal news,
Sure.
and it's for the people. It's not like for us to benefit from, you know, other people.
Yeah, it's not really so much about a benefit. I would like to be able to feed my family by doing this.
Oh, of
I want it
course.
to be a business
Yeah.
model.
Yeah.
I'd rather do it. I'd rather do it this way, in a way that I feel good about, than work for some organization where I don't feel good about it. But I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not looking at making $1 bajillion at it either. There's this concept called subsistence farming, and it doesn't really exist so much anymore. But what it means is that the farmer grows just enough to support the family, and maybe a little bit to sell down at the town square. And that's how farming used to exist in the United States. But I think what's going to have to happen with journalism is that there's going to have to be subsistence journalism growing in communities, because these corporations that own newspapers will shut a newspaper down in a heartbeat if it's not making the profits that they want to make.
Right.
And they're doing it every day. So we want to avoid places. We want to keep New Bern a news desert.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's kind of what's going on with me.
All right. Well, you know, I'm glad you explained that, because I was curious, and it's also great to see you. So hang tight. I'm trying to read my phone. Melanie Rust said, we play hopscotch and kickball.
I saw that.
We were talking about kids playing outdoors, you know, recently compared to the last couple of years. They seem to be outdoors more now. And one more thing, Aimee Schulze is in the waiting room. She's our mental health go-to person, just to make us smile. And let's bring her in real quick. We're going to have to wrap it up soon, but there she is.
Hey, Amy.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. My goodness. I feel like a whole lot has happened since January 1st. But all for the better, right?
And here we are.
Yeah.
Almost at the end of the month. I can't believe it.
Yeah, and at the end of the hour, I'm so sorry to keep you hanging out there in internet space, cyberspace, whatever it's
In
called.
Zoom land.
Zoom land. There we go.
Well, I tell you, I appreciate both speakers that I've seen while I was in the waiting room. Antoinette is fantastic. And Randy, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm a fan of your work, and I read it, and was very glad when you were head of the Sun Journal and covering all kinds of things for us. And like you said, that hyperlocal is kind of disappeared. So anything you can do to bring that back, and that's why I appreciate the Podsquad, because it brings us back to that local message.
Here you go. And if you don't know, Aimee Schulze is a clinical license. I always screw up it. Do you want to explain?
Licensed clinical social worker. And I provide psychotherapy services through Stillwaters in Bayboro, which is another area that we don't have a whole lot of news. There's a couple outfits out there, but it's a very rural area. So we're one of the few providers out there of mental health services. We focus mostly on families and children, but we're there when you need us, and I'm only a phone call away. And I always am offering, if folks don't know if they really want therapy or need services or just having some issue or concern they want to talk about, don't know what to do, give me a call. I would never charge for a consultation, and I'll help you out the best I can.
Yeah. And what's your number?
Oh my goodness. Yes. Stillwaters in Bayboro. And we're at 252-745-4510. We are the counseling component of HeartWorks, and a lot of folks are familiar with HeartWorks. We provide about services to about 150 children after school through the 21st Century Learning Grants. And Stillwaters is the counseling component to that, as well as Stillwaters being a program of what's called JCPC, or Juvenile Crime Prevention Counselor. We're a prevention program. So we try to work with some specific families on prevention, making sure their kids don't become at risk.
Awesome. And we really need mental health assistance these days. And what else? Okay, since we're running out of time, are you guys ready for the trivia question?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh no.
Maybe Randy or Amy can get it.
Okay. So it's open to everyone out there and the Podsquad. Okay, the question: what actor known for his roles in Bull, Just Mercy, and This Is Us was born in New Bern? Anyone?
I don't know.
Randy? Brainiac? I know you got it in there somewhere.
No, not that one. I could look up Internet Movie Database, but right here.
Not Van Wagner, is it? Is it the who are the singers? The married couple that are the singers.
Oh,
here?
you're thinking of Vaughn Lewis.
Vaughn Lewis.
Vaughn
No,
and
no.
Yeah, Lewis and Clark. That's what I was thinking. No.
Yeah, I don't
No.
know. Is it the guy that plays Chunk on Bull?
Nope.
Okay.
No, but he was actually on Bull, like this is Bull the movie, but he was also
Oh,
on
okay.
Bull, one of the episodes.
Okay.
And yeah, I connected with his mother after Hurricane Florence. She was in the magazine, in New Bern Now's magazine. She was sitting on the steps with her arms stretched out, and she had this huge smile on her face. And I'm like, I have to meet this woman. You know, she's just, her house has just been demolished, and her smile just totally, anytime I was having a rough go, I'd look at her picture. And I was asking around town, and I finally met her, and then I find out her son is a major actor. I mean, it was pretty interesting. His name, okay, you ready?
I'm
Yes.
ready.
It's Rob Morgan, and his mother is Juliette Morgan. And it's been reported that he shot all three in the same week. Each character, Abe, Herbert Richards, and Councilman Sol Brown. He's also been on Bull, the TV series, and he's had numerous roles over the years. So, yeah, fun fact.
From New Bern.
All right.
Interesting.
Yeah, and
So you still have that gift certificate to give away
yes, a $40 gift certificate. So
next week.
So there's a fun.
next week.
I got a fun fact for you about my husband, Jeff Schultz, who works at the Volt Center and is a frequent contributor to the Podsquad. So anyway, so Jeff was in Sleepy Hollow when they filmed here. He was an extra and got his paycheck and everything. He went through makeup and did all that. Yeah, so it's fun. You never know. Maybe we'll get some more movie industry stuff going on when the economy and the pandemic ends and all that.
We have
Right.
to get his autograph next time we see him.
Yeah, we do. I don't remember seeing him in Sleepy Hollow. I'm gonna have to watch it again if it's on
Me too.
Netflix. So.
Don't encourage him. Don't encourage him.
You don't want to say, hey, I remember you. You're the third soldier to the right. I remember that.
He had one line. He actually, he did. He
Had
had
a
one
line?
little line. So.
I remember that they built the gallows in the north lawn at the palace, and there's a picture of it. And I ran it on my Facebook page, my Facebook wall, and the comment was Friday night hangings have resumed in New Bern. And some of my friends are like, "Dude, you're kidding! I thought it was outlawed."
Oh, man.
That's my dog.
I
Okay.
always like to pick on Jeff, and because you two are just the nicest people. So I suspect Jeff's one line was "Giddy up."
Giddy up.
Right. Right. For his energy level. Yes.
Right.
Get moving.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Aimee, you are a breath of fresh air. I'll always tell your husband that we said hi. He is a ball of energy as well whenever he comes on this show. Lots to share, and we always like to see him and talk to him. So,
Yeah.
Wendy, do you have some corny joke up your sleeve before we?
Not today. My joke was the seance thing where
Oh, okay.
Zoom, yeah. It wasn't really a joke, but what else? Yeah. Do you have anything from the city that is pressing, or can it wait till next week?
I'm gonna wait until next week because the event is next Friday, so we can talk about it the day before.
Okay.
That sound
Anybody?
good?
Yep. We ready to wrap it up?
I think we are. Don't forget to join us next week on the 28th from 1 to 2. We're going to Zoom live again on New Bern Now's Facebook page. The video and audio are not only uploaded to newbernnow.com, but also to YouTube, iTunes, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Just a reminder, you can also listen on New Bern's News Talk radio station, WNOS 103.9 FM, every Wednesday at 8 o'clock in the morning and 5 p.m. in the afternoon. And we'd love to have you as a guest on the show. So contact Wendy at 252-259-6853 or email us at info@newbernnow.com. Is that a wrap?
That's a wrap, folks. Have a great day. Thanks for listening. Woohoo!
All right, well,
Oh,
TV and
oh.
newspapers have forgotten that there is more to local news than booking mugshots, pet pictures, and car wrecks.
Hey, that's Cole.
Two
You still there, Wendy?
websites
Are
stand
we offline?
Yeah.
locally owned, locally staffed, locally focused. They are where you go to find real news and only news about New Bern, the community where we live, work, and play. NewBernNow.com, NewBernPost.com. We're here, and we've got you covered.
Thanks, Randy.